Welcome to today's Energy Central webcast entitled The Ins and Outs of Effective Smart Grid Data Management. A few housekeeping notes we would like to mention. For best results in viewing this presentation, we suggest you turn off pop-up blockers and disable instant messaging programs to improve computer performance. If you are experiencing any difficulty with the audio portion of this webcast, we recommend using a wired, high-speed internet connection, as wireless connections can be unpredictable. If you cannot get adequate sound from your computer speakers, you may dial into the audio portion using the telephone number listed in the right-hand panel of your interface under the audio section. Following our speakers, we will have a brief question and answer period. You may submit your questions at any time using the question interface on your screen. Now I'd like to introduce today's panel. Moderating today's event, we have from Accenture Smart Grid Services, Dave Haak, who is the Executive Director. And today's speakers are Brad Williams, Vice President of Product Strategy for Oracle Utilities Global Business Unit. And last but certainly not least, we have Chris Foretich, who is the Director of Application Services for Southern Company. I'd like to now turn the floor over to Dave. Dave, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, everyone, for attending this Energy Central hosted webcast. Based on the sign-up of over 600 people, this topic is hopefully of great interest. It certainly is to myself and our panelists today. By way of brief introduction, my name is Dave Haak, as Eric mentioned. I have 20-plus years in the utility industry, 26 years in IT, and I've worked with over 50 utility clients. I've had the pleasure of working with both Brad and Chris in the past. And we have three different perspectives on the panel, myself being systems integration and services, Brad being software, hardware provider, and of course Chris being a utility case study. And that's what we'll go over today in the agenda. There will be 4 pulse questions or poll questions that we'll try to understand more about your interests so we can direct our comments appropriately. And I will be working with PJ and Eric in the background to help gather up questions for the end. If you can move to the next slide, Eric. So every smart grid presentation should start with a slide like this. For today, what is relevant is that we understand that the smart grid is going to generate what some call a data tsunami or a flood of data in the order of 4 to 8 orders of magnitude, which is 4,000 to 8,000 times more data than the utilities manage today. And if you really want to be dramatic, 400,000% to 800,000% more data. This is a topic that's very relevant today. In fact, another event held this winter, we polled about 400 industry participants, and 75% of those industry participants said that data management was the #1 IT challenge for them. So I think the topic is very relevant. Eric, can we move to the next slide? So at Accenture, we've worked on over 75 different projects, smart grid projects globally over the last 5 years or so. And one of the things that I've experienced is it's very difficult to design with the end in mind because smart grid is so new in many ways. There are many different components, and a number of clients I've worked with, their projects are very segmented or siloed. So defining the key architectures and designing with the end in mind is not always easy. But what we do suggest is really looking at use cases, standards, and architectures. And from an architecture perspective, it's not just about technology, it's about people and process, it's about systems integration, security, communications, and today's topic, data and information. The other thing, of course, you need to consider are your investments in legacy systems. How do those play in your smart grid architecture of the future? So Eric, if we can go to the first pulse question. So what we'd like to get an understanding for, those of you on the call, is what do you think will be most important for managing the influx of smart grid data? You can select one now. They are executive sponsorship, emerging technologies, change management and process, and standards. We'll hold on while you poll, or about while you answer. We think all of these areas, of course, are important, but we're trying to get a relative understanding of the importance from the audience. Eric, can you tell me when we're done with the first poll question?
Yeah, we've got about just about 80% have voted, and we'll leave it up
Great.
for another 5 seconds here.
Great.
All righty, let's go ahead and show the results there. And there we are. Should be up on the screen there.
Oh, very split. It's very interesting. That's very interesting. Good. Well, thank you for participating. Now I will turn it over to Brad Williams to talk about the smart grid needs information management. Brad, over to you.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, appreciate everybody's participation on that. We've got some more of those pulse questions coming up. But so just by way of background, I do come from the utility, spent 20 years working in the utility in the area of technology development and asset management. So have some direct experience implementing these types of technologies. So I want to kind of talk through some of the key implications of these technologies here as we go forward here. Got ahead of myself here. Sorry. So first of all, if we look at the smart grid, and in particular the issues of data, never before has the industry been so dependent on systems and data to provide that safe and reliable operations. And that's kind of an understanding of utilities. The safety and reliability always has to be the priority. And so now we have this much larger dependence on the systems and the data in order to achieve some of these benefits, but also maintain that safety and reliability as a priority. So some real implications there as we start to implement these smart grid initiatives. The other aspect, and we'll get into a little deeper here, and Dave's already discussed, is this exponential growth of data that the smart grid brings. And key challenge for IT folks as well as the operations folks on how are they going to leverage these the information as it comes forward, both in real time and also in the historical aspect of it. Consumer interaction. You know, let's face it, utilities aren't historically stellar at consumer interaction, and that's why we've seen a rise of interest from folks like Google and Microsoft that actually have quite a bit of expertise in this area. So that's going to be the challenge, is utilities have to be able to interact with consumers in real time